I don't eat chicken, I don't eat turkey, I don't eat duck, I don't eat bird, I don't eat fowl, period. The Guinness family and the rest of the Austins had duck for dinner several days in a row. And I decided then I better go and learn the French word for duck, which is canard. Canard. C-A-N-A-R-D. And I did learn that word, and I know it till this day.
Obviously you do, and to add the word alive.
But it was good time, and we had good time. And all four of the boys enjoyed that chateau. Plenty of room, a lot of cherry trees. We went back to the States, signed to New Jersey, which you might remember. You were about 4 years old then. And just prior to, no, we signed that earlier, before our French trip. We came back, we go to Fort Stewart, didn't we?
Right after France, yes.
Yes, we went from France back to Fort Stewart in southeast Georgia. And there you do remember.
Oh, I remember.
The good times we had in Fort Stewart.
Sure, no problem there.
I was discharged there. We went down to St. Petersburg as an advisor to the Army Reserve Center there, and retired at the end of what I wanted to be my career in the Army.
And that was 21 years?
21 plus, about 21.6. I think I get paid for 22.
Okay.
And we already were set up in our house on Coquina Key, so all I had to do, in essence, was simply just to take off my uniform and stay home. And that's where we stayed, and that's where y'all were reared.
That's where we grew up.
A good career, had its moments, but it was, on the whole, I wouldn't have changed it. I don't regret any of it. And parts of it I would hate to have to repeat. But be that as it may, it was a good life, and I enjoyed it.
In 1961, you and Mom led us to Lake McGorry Baptist Church.
Lake McGorry.
Tell me how that transpired. Why did you make a decision to do that?
Lake McGorry at that time was brand new. It had a live wire preacher who had started the church from a mission from Fifth Avenue Baptist, and it was in its infancy. We went there. The church ultimately gained a membership of 1,500. But in cleaning out the rolls of the church later on and so forth, and people moving away and all this, it got down to about 250. But we served in that church very effectively. It's surprising. We had built on the anticipated growth of the church. We had built a new sanctuary, which in resulting years, the whole nation went into a downhill slide in church memberships, including ours. And it was a financial burden that I guess the church has even to this day.
Yes.
They can just keep the doors open and that's it.
Well, I wanted you to talk more personally at this point. How did you become a Christian? Why did you become a Christian?
I became a Christian at age 16. And my hometown, Miller County, and I knew that I was a Christian. I didn't practice it any more than any other youngster that was thrown into a military environment did at that age. Went sometimes, didn't go a lot of times. And I had no particular leanings. It was a Baptist church, of course.
But your family was not really that religious.
No, my family, I don't ever recall seeing my mom and dad in church until the day they were buried.
Exactly.
But they did not interpose in our going. we were able to go as children. And except one time, me and some other boys sitting on the front pew during a revival, and young and black, we got to punching one another, you know. And the preacher called us down, and Papa heard about it. Well, that got the razor strap out and going. That's why he disciplined us with his old razor strap. When he get that thing down, Katie barred the door. But when we joined Lake Maggiore, I never have been a joiner of anything. To this day, I don't belong to any military organization, like the American Legion, BFW, AMVETS, or anything like this. I've never joined any of them. Just not a joiner. But we started going, and I could see that this is where you and Paul should be spending your time growing up and getting a Christian atmosphere, spearheaded mainly by your mother. And we just gradually got more involved and more involved in the church work. As the time went, the workers as such were getting fewer and fewer and fewer, so people had to take over multiple jobs. You'd meet yourself coming and going. And I was ultimately elected as a deacon and served a subsequent term on that. What we called training union at that time, I was training union director, taught Sunday school for a number of years, and evolved into a Christian life that is certainly more preferable to a non-Christian life.
You were also a deacon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And interestingly, as small as that church was in membership, we fed people into the ministry. There was Bill Saunders, Jim Jenkins, yourself, David
Zimmerman.
And we had a procession of people that flowed through that little church that went into the ministry.
Exactly right. Exactly right. I think it's
I think that this was the ultimate purpose of Lake Maggiore Baptist Church, was to train and feed people into the ministry. And I delight in my time that I spent there. And we go back. A lot of the church members that are still living, they're getting fewer now.
Yes.
Are still our friends.
Yes.
So, and we contact them. And some of them are our intimate, deep, close friends.
Yes.
Like the Fulghams and the Myerses. And we can just walk down and be perfectly at home in Lake Maggiore right to this day, some 10 or 15 years later.
Okay, now we're back. We have taken a break, and we're back. Now,
I'm full. Can I take a nap now?
yeah, you can take a nap now, but you've got to do one thing before you take a nap.
What's that?
Now, there was a lot more to your life than what we talked about in this last hour and a half, but you've hit the high points in a lot of the stories that you've told me over these years. Now, here's what I'd like you to do. What I'd like you to do is to think about what you would tell future generations of Austins or whoever they may be that are your direct descendants. If you could say anything to them that you wanted to, what would it be? What kind of a message would you want to tell them?
Well, I think first off that I would say that they have a good life to look forward to. Certainly they'll meet challenges that we are not aware of at this time. There will be improvements and there will be changes made, and generally in the course of history change is for the better. So I would say during your school years, your formative years, certainly enjoy it. It's what we used to call the white bread of your life. That's the good times. And enjoy your childhood, enjoy school, apply yourself at school. And insofar as possible, get higher education, which many in my generation did not have access to. So that is most important.